the Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons. That award was particularly given because of the role of the International Campaign to Abolish Nuclear Weapons in the establishment of a new treaty to prohibit nuclear weapons. The World Council of Churches has been actively involved in this campaign and in those negotiations. The achievement of that treaty represents a long-held dream for the World Council of Churches and the ecumenical movement. Already at the first assembly of the WCC in 1948, we described nuclear weapons as a sin against God and a crime against humanity. And again at the sixth assembly in Vancouver, the WCC called for a treaty to prohibit the use and possession of nuclear weapons. And that's what this new treaty represents. A new standard, a new normative principle against nuclear weapons and calling for their total elimination. Now, some may say that this achievement is meaningless because nuclear weapon states do not support the treaty and have made clear their intention never to ratify it. But it is important because it creates a new standard, a new normative principle that seeks the elimination of these most destructive, most indiscriminate weapons that human beings have ever devised. A single nuclear weapon would cause untold, unprecedented and unconscionable damage and suffering that cannot be remediated. And it must be our purpose to try to ensure that they are never used again in any part of the world. We have become used, though, to seeking protection under the so-called nuclear umbrella. We believe that nuclear deterrence has played a role in preventing war or global war since the end of the Second World War. But we have to ask ourselves whether the existence of nuclear weapons are really a source of security or rather a source of permanent insecurity. Although nuclear weapons arsenals have been reduced around the world, we have tolerated the continued maintenance and development of ever more destructive weapon systems in pursuit of that false security. But now we have an instrument that delegitimizes the continued possession, ownership, development, and threat of use, as well as use of nuclear weapons. And that is the objective that we surely must all work for. So we are calling on member churches around the world to approach their governments, to call on their governments to sign and ratify this instrument, to create that new normative principle, and to work towards a world without nuclear weapons, and no longer to tolerate their continued existence and the threat that they pose not only to humanity, but to the entire creation.